Hello, it's lesson 2, Writing with Dev. Thank you all so much for your support and your comments already. It's fantastic. The reason that I decided to do these at this time is because I think in our lives we all need something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to. So that's the writing exercise we're going to start today. I'm going to write with you. I'm not going to give you a timer on this one. I'll just tell you when we're moving to the next question. So here is my perfectly color coordinated clipboard, and I'll be writing with you. Normally I write on the computer, but I'm recording on this. So you must do what you can where you are with what you have. There's no perfect conditions. This is a great writing myth that needs to be busted, that you need your special room, or you need your special chair, or you need your special online writing tool. You really don't. You just need to prioritize small, doable chunks of time and do them as early in the day as possible. Remember in lesson 1, I was talking about doing something as early in the day as possible, because people used to say to me, when's the best time to write, Dev? And I'd say whenever you want. But science has proven me wrong. Okay, so everything I say is from the Paduma Institute. They pull it directly out of my Arts Institute, apart from when I say this is actual science. So yeah, I am the queen of the Paduma Institute, but science has proven that the best time to write is as early in the day as possible. And I do know that for all of you, that mightn't be at 7 a.m. or even 9 a.m. It could be at 3 in the afternoon, because that might be the earliest time for you to do it. So you need to prioritize small, doable chunks of time, let yourself off the hook, and you need a feeling of pulling your finger out and getting over yourself. That's what you need. There's a guy who wrote this book about procrastination, and the book is called Eat That Frog. Bought it, haven't read it. But the premise of the book is that every day of our life we have to eat a frog or a couple of frogs, and it's going to be the worst thing that we have to do for the day. So we need to do that first thing to get it out of the way, because it will make you feel good. It'll give you a bit of a surge of energy and encouragement and feeling of satisfaction because you've got stuff done. And this guy says, I wish I knew his name. I'm sure someone will put it in the comments. So buy the book, Eat That Frog. So this guy says, if there's more than 2 frogs or more than 1 frog, you have to eat the ugly frog first. So sometimes the frog you need to eat is exercise, responding to that email, cleaning up that mess, but often it's writing. So we're going to start today with a little exercise, and I'm going to be, there we go, I've got my clipboard. Write with me. This is half an hour. So if you need to grab your stuff, grab it now. So in the spirit of who do you love, what do you do, and what are you looking forward to, I want you to answer those questions. So the first question that you're going to answer is, who do you love? Let's get going. Okay. Second question is, what do you do? Okay, now the third question is, what are you looking forward to? Fantastic. Okay, now we're going to move on to a prompt exercise. So I'm going to give you 6 prompts and I'm going to use the timer, but I'm not going to tell you how long the time is going to go for. I'm going to give you 6 prompts and you're going to write one piece, whatever you want. Just assume, and this is how you always have to write. Write like no one's going to read it. Write like your family are dead. Seriously, write like no one's going to read it because the chances are no one is going to read it. And it's not because what you write isn't any good. The reason is that often it's a first draft, often people don't feel like showing it, and often people don't ever want to show it. We don't write to be praised or paid or win prizes or to get a profile. These things do happen to many people. We write because it makes us feel better. That's the same reason that we run. It's the same reason that we brush our teeth. And that's why we run. Write for yourself. Don't write for anyone else. And I'm really against this idea of writing for the audience. The audience doesn't know what the fuck they want. Write for yourself because you are still the audience. When you are the writer, you are also the reader. When you are the artist, you're also the audience. So we have already inside us great instinct and a great lock on what is good and great taste. We know what is good, and what we need to do is to create that for ourselves. A great thing to keep in mind is the Leonardo da Vinci quote, "Art's never finished, it's just abandoned." So we abandon our art when, as good as we want it to be and as good as we can get it, is the smallest distance apart, okay? So we don't sing because we're happy. We're happy because we sing. So we're going to do a prompt exercise now. So I'm going to give you 6 prompts. I want you to write one piece, but do whatever you want. Like, I'm just some Sheila on the internet. I'm not going to be checking your work. And I'm going to give you little kind of snippets to put into your work. I'll just give you a quick rundown of how it will feel. I'll say something like, prompt number 1, in the beginning. So you write in the beginning and you keep writing. Writing until I say, prompt number 2, there was a bird. There was a bird. Okay, I need to get there was a bird. So I'll just finish that sentence and I'll write there was a bird and I will keep going. All right, so we're going to start that now. It's going to be a prompt exercise. I'm going to have a timer. You're not going to know how long these little snippets are going along for. But the aim of the exercise is to write one piece with these 6 prompts. And at the end, I'll give you 2 minutes so you know you've got 2 minutes to finish. Okay, are you ready? Let's start. Okay, prompt number 1. Imagine if Prompt number 2. Around the corner. Prompt number 3. What had been forgotten? Prompt number 3. What had been forgotten? Prompt number 4. It was brilliant. Prompt number 4. It was brilliant. Prompt number 5. Eventually, prompt number 5. Eventually, prompt number 6. To be honest. Prompt number 6. To be honest. Okay, you've got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left to finish up. You're done. Well done. There we go. So, off. Terrific. Well done. Okay, so I think writing's a lot like sex. You don't know what goes on in anyone else's head. You only know what goes on in your own. So hopefully what I can do is help you understand that there's a whole lot of different kinds of normals, and it's not this kind of normal which has been sold to us by, you know, Ernest Hemingway wrote every morning from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And most of us professional writers look at him and think, really? And that's all he fucking wrote. Right in the cracks. There is no perfect situation. Perfect is the enemy of good. I'm just going to reiterate. Identify the barriers between you and how you want to write or what you want. Realize that they are not barriers, but they're obstacles, and we go over, under, through. So I wrote a book called Use Your Words, which is on writing, and I haven't read many books on writing, but there's one book that I read by a woman called Anne Lamott called Bird by Bird. It's an okay book. I recommend that you read anything on writing that you can put your hands on, because there'll be bound to be something that resonates with you. Either you'll go, that is so helpful, or you'll just go, that is just total bullshit and that person is a complete wanker. Anne Lamott has the best description of how to write that I've ever come across. I wish I'd come up with it, but she came up with it. So this is how you write. You write the down draft, the up draft, and the dental draft, okay? The first draft is the down draft. You get it down. You write like your family are dead. You write like no one's going to ever read it. You write like you are going to burst into flames as soon as it's finished. That's how you write. You keep going forward. You vomit it out. You blurt it out. You don't procrastinate edit. That's another class that we're going to do about editing and editing and all the other kinds of procrastinations. We'll cover that through the 10 sessions that we're together. So the downdraft is just move it out. Just imagine I had a roll of kitchen paper and I'm rolling it straight towards you. It goes straight ahead and it just keeps going, and then eventually the cardboard tube falls out. That's how you need to write, just like that. You can't vomit in the shape of a heart. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. You've got to just get it out, blurt it out, don't edit, go forward. I remember hearing this story about John Marston. It's something like this, that he was like almost 35 and he'd been a teacher and he'd been writing for years and years and years, but he hadn't got anything published. So he said to himself, are you going to get anything published, or are you just going to keep fucking around? So from that point onwards, he kind of knew the beast he was and applied that. Doing the same thing and expecting different results is the epitome of madness. So instead of editing and going back into his work, he did something like, for 2 weeks, wrote 2 hours a day, and the only thing that he was allowed to read was the last paragraph he'd written, and he just went forward. That's all he did. So you read the last paragraph and he went forward. And in 2 weeks or something, he finished his most famous book, I think, which was Tomorrow When the World Began. I think that's what it's called. So Anne Lamott, the downdraft, the updraft, and the dental drafts. So the first thing you've got to do is get it down. Okay, so just get it down, just out. The second draft is the updraft. You fix it up. You do a bit of a grammar check. You do a bit of a spelling check. You might obscure some names. You might change some places. You might do a bit of a structural edit. You might be kind of looking at it and going, oh, in order for them to understand this, I've got to put some more backstory in, or take the backstory that I've put at the back there before that, so it makes a bit of sense. So the downdraft, the updraft, and then the third draft is the dental draft. So you go through that piece of work like a dentist goes through your teeth, every single one separately, and he checks or she checks whether it is wobbly, whether it is infected, whether it is cracked, whether it is dirty, whether it's in the right place, whether it needs transplanting or fiddling, or a little bit of that weird thing they do with the steel. I know you're probably already feeling that in your head when I say that, but that's the dental draft. So I often say, because I'm dyslexic, so my spelling and grammar and basic literacy is quite poor, but my storytelling and my communication is excellent. So I've often said that I don't do the dental draft, that my editors do the dental draft. But that's actually not true, strictly speaking, because I just do the dental draft to the best of my ability. And later in the 10 classes, I'll talk about some of the tools that I use to do that. So the downdraft, the updraft, the dental draft. Another way to describe it is, imagine the person that you most want to impress in your life, and imagine that they message you at 9:10 on a Sunday morning after a very big night, and they say, I'm going to be around your place in 15 minutes for a cup of coffee, and you've only got that 15 minutes to kind of get up, brush your teeth, push the ashtrays and the grog bottles into the Sulo bin, flush the toilet, pack the dishwasher. That's like the downdraft, like the stuff that you do really fast, the first stuff off the top of the list to kind of get it looking into a sense and a state of order. Then imagine that they message you and say, actually, I'm going to be another half an hour away. So it's 45 minutes from when I first messaged you. So you've got a bit more time. So you have a shower, you clean the toilet, you might vacuum, you might, shake out the rug, you might put on a new tablecloth, you might pick up the dog poo from the front yard. That's like the updraft. And the dental draft is like them saying, actually, I'm going to be over in about 2 more hours. So you've got much more time to get yourself together, get some food, get some music, or whatever you need to make that a good situation. So downdraft, updraft, dental draft. If you would like to ask me any questions about your writing, I'm not going to respond to them personally, but I might address them here on these classes that we're doing online. You can send me a message at catherine.deveny@gmail.com. Also, if you'd like to donate, every time you spend $1, you're voting on how you want the world to be. You can go onto my classes page at catherinedeveny.com/classes, and you can see there's a link for donating to these online classes. You can just, if you want, these are free, but if you've got a little bit of money and you'd love to support me, that would be fantastic. You can do it through TryBooking, through PayPal, or direct debit. Okay, so we're almost finished for today. And before we finish, I want to do a last exercise with you. So I want you to answer this question. If you had 6 months to live, what would you do? And what's stopping you from doing it now? If you had 6 months to live, what would you do? And what's stopping you from doing it now? Fantastic. See you next time. Pull your finger out, get over yourself, and remember that your excuses are bullshit. See ya.